Hello everyone, welcome to my video on baptism. This is going to be a short summary video on the Catholic beliefs of baptism saving rather than being just an expression of faith, and on whether children should be baptized, which of course Catholics and a lot of High Church Protestants believe that they should be. So I've split this into two parts that I've just stated. I've got two different sources for each part that might incline you to believe the High Church Protestant or Catholic view of baptism. So we will start with baptism saving. I've got a quote from 1 Peter. This is 1 Peter 3:21, which states, "And baptism, which is prefigured, now saves you, not as a removal of dirt, but as an appeal through the resurrection of Jesus." Now, that would be in direct contradiction to what some Baptists might say. Baptism is just an expression of faith, and it doesn't actually save you. It's more something you do out of want to be saved. And this would be in direct contradiction to that, as it very clearly states that the baptism isn't just removing the dirt from you, as it's washing with water, and especially in the first century it would have been done in rivers and such, which at some parts of the world it still is, and in fact I believe you still can be baptized in rivers, though it's impractical for areas where there's not running water. But still, this clearly states there's not just removing the dirt from your body, but it's also an appeal, and it is heavily linked to the resurrection of Jesus, because of course when you are baptized you then become an official member of the church, and that is a belief that has been held for many centuries, and in the Catholic Church for, well, nearly 2,000 years. In 2033 it will be 2,000 years. And of course, we then have early church evidence. So I've got a quote from the Creed here. We acknowledge one baptism for the remission of sins. So that's quite obvious. I don't think I need to explain. That's pretty self-explanatory. Though I would point out one baptism, as some people, some low church Protestants seem to think that you can be baptized multiple times. I think there are some Pentecostals that practice like multiple baptisms. And historically and theologically speaking, from the Catholic point of view, once you've been baptized, that's it. You can't undo it, and you can't redo it. That's sort of it. Same as say marriage, for example. Baptism is the same, though perhaps even more so than marriage, because of course marriage ceases when one of the parties has passed away, whereas baptism is for the rest of your life, even after your soul leaves your body. So this would be in not just saying that it forgives sins, but also that it contradicts what a lot of low church Protestants say about how many times you can be baptized. That's a little more of a fringe view, but I thought it was worth mentioning, so I'm not repeating myself for both of the sources. So then we have infant baptism. Now this is a little more ambiguous. A lot of what's talked about in terms of infant baptism comes from church tradition and church history, as there isn't an official mentioning of it, at least one that I know of, in the Bible. And so we have here in the book of Acts, there's a sort of, it's implied she was baptized with her household. Now if you're a Catholic like me, you read that to mean that, well, households usually have children in them, so the children were baptized. It's not clear cut. Again, a lot of what Catholics believe and what High Church Protestants believe, like Anglicans and such, and Presbyterians and etc. A lot of what we believe about children being baptized comes from church tradition and church history, rather than exact verses and practices and such that can be found in the Gospels. And here would be an example of that. So this is Polycarp of Smyrna, one of the most important early church fathers. He was the Bishop of Smyrna. He personally knew Saint Ignatius of Antioch, and he states here, this is an excerpt from the transcription of the dialogue at his martyrdom. So obviously this being from the transcript of his martyrdom, it's one of the last things he said, at least recorded down. And he says, 86 years I have served him, and he never did me any injury. Why now should I blaspheme my Lord and Saviour? It's really the first part of that quote we need to look at here, because 86 years I have served him implies that he was baptized at a young age. He doesn't specifically say that he was baptized as a child, or as an infant or a newborn. However, he may be implying that he was baptized at a young age, since when you are baptized you're joined to the church, and so that would be most likely what he's referring to when he says he has served Jesus Christ, the Lord and Saviour. Now, of course, that's not a very clear cut. It's very obvious. There's no other interpretation of that. But coupled with the other source, and of course there are a lot of other examples in the early church, and certainly a lot of examples once a few centuries pass and Christianity is made legal, and then infant baptism is something that is more common. And today it's very common among all apostolic churches and high church Protestants as well, though Protestants do let me know if I've got that wrong. So anyway, that's the end of this this short sort of summary video. If I've gotten anything wrong, please do let me know, and if you disagree, let me know why, and link some sources to me in the comments, and I shall do some reading, as I'm always excited to do. So thank you very much for watching. God bless, and like and subscribe.